Hi Year 3, this is your Thursday comprehension lesson. I hope you're having a good week and I hope you didn't find Monday's comprehension with SMERSA too difficult. We're going to have a look at non-fiction texts again today and tomorrow. They're all emailed out with your task list in a Microsoft Word document. I know that some of you were finding it difficult to see the PDF, so we sent them out again on Microsoft Word. So if you're able to see that, fantastic. If not, I'm going to show you on this screen now, and then we're going to, I'll pause it. I'll ask you to pause it, and then you can have a read of the text then. So I'm going to share my screen with you now and have a look at today's text. So this is today's text, and it is about mountains. So if you've got this document in front of you now, I'd like you to have a read of it. If not, I'm going to just zoom out, and I'm going to have ask if you could pause the video now, just have a read of this independently. Okay, and then if I scroll down, you can see the bottom part of it. So make sure you have a read of that as well. So pause the video now. Okay, I'm going to read it to you now. Hopefully you've already read it and you're understanding some of it. If there's any words you're not sure of, make sure you ask someone who's around you now, or I'll try and think of, if there's any words that I come to that I'm not sure if you'll know what they mean, I'll explain them to you as well. So our text today is called Mountains, and it's by Ruth Thompson. A mountain is a very high hill. Its sides are often steep and rocky. Some mountains have a pointed top called a peak. The air becomes cooler and clearer as you climb a mountain. At the top, it is very cold and windy. Mountains of the world. So we've got a subheading here, or a subtitle, like we've had in our non-chronological reports. We've got one here. Mountains cover more than a quarter of the earth. Many are part of a group called a range. Some mountain ranges stretch for hundreds of miles. I've got another subheading or subtitle. How are mountains made? The Earth has a crust of rock. This is broken into massive pieces called plates, which have gaps between them. These move very, very slowly on top of hot liquid rock called magma. The plates fit together like jigsaw pieces. Millions of years ago, the plates crashed into each other. Some of the rocky crust was pushed upwards to form mountains. So if you look at this picture here, just to help you understand it. So we've got the light grey layer here, and that's the Earth's crust. And then you've got underneath, you can see the magma, which is the really hot liquid, which I was just talking about. And it says in here, so we've got the crust of rock. It's broken into massive pieces called plates. So the crust is made up of different plates along there, and there's gaps between them. So for example, there was a gap here, and over a long, long time, the plates crashed together here, and as you can see, this plate here has then formed and gone up like this, and then that's what's created the shape of the mountain. And there's lots of different types of mountains depending on how the crust moves and how the plates are pushed up in different directions. We don't need to go into that detail for now, but that's how the mountains are formed. And the plates are moved because of the hot magma underneath. And you can also see this is how a volcano is formed as well. So it says volcanoes. Some mountains are formed by volcanoes. Magma from deep in the earth erupts through a crack in the earth's crust. So here would have been a very thin crack. And the magma from deep in the earth erupts through a crack in the earth's crust. Dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air when a volcano erupts. The hole in the volcano is called its crater. When the lava cools, it hardens into hard rock. Layers of rock build up to form a cone-shaped mountain. So a type of mountain, which is a cone-shaped mountain, is formed by a volcano. Changing shape. Water and ice slowly change the shape of mountains. Rain falls into cracks in the rocks. At night, the water freezes. The ice splits, open the rocks, and pieces fall off. Rivers of ice called glaciers slide down some mountains. They move a few meters every year. The moving ice wears away the rock on the mountain sides. Now, some of you would have looked at this when we looked at the rock and the sea. Sorry about that, my phone rang in my office and I lost track of where I was. So we're talking about the volcanoes. We spoke about how the mountains could change depending on if the ice or the water can affect it. And that was the end of our text that we've just read. So hopefully you've understood all of that, and I've explained it nice and clearly with our picture, which helps us a lot as well. Okay, let's have a look at the questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out. So again, if you want to have a look at these questions now, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to read through them and we're going to work out our answer. I'm going to move down a little bit for you. So if you want to pause it there, that's absolutely fine. Okay, let's go over our questions. So the first question, it says, suggest a heading for the first paragraph of text. So we're going to go to the first paragraph. Now, I've said to you already that these paragraphs, they have a subheading or a subtitle. They've got their subheading. But this paragraph, these 2 lines here, they don't have one. A mountain is a very high hill. Its sides are often steep and rocky. Some mountains have a pointed top called a peak. The air becomes cooler and clearer as you climb a mountain. At the top, it is very cold and windy. What could that paragraph be called? So these ones, this one's called Mountains of the World. This one's called How a Mountain's Made. This one's called Volcanoes. And this one's called Changing Shape. What could this paragraph be called? Have another read of it, pause the video now. I'd like you to write down what you think that paragraph could be called. Okay, if I was to title it, I would have it as What is a Mountain? With a question mark at the end, because this paragraph here is explaining what a mountain is. A mountain is a very high hill. Its sides are often steep and rocky. Some mountains have a pointed top called a peak. The air becomes cooler and clearer as you climb a mountain. At the top, it is very cold and windy. So I would say, what is a mountain? Or it could just be called mountains, because it's quite a general paragraph. It's a bit like an introduction, isn't it? If you wrote introduction to mountains, that's also fine. It's our introductory paragraph about mountains. So well done if you wrote one of those as your answers. If you didn't, write down your answer, and if you put it onto tapestry, then your teacher will be able to have a look and see whether it makes sense. If you wrote something like the weather on a mountain, although it does talk about that, at the top it's very cold and windy, that's not what the whole paragraph is about. So just be really careful that it's got including everything that's in that paragraph, not a specific part. Okay, let's have a look at question 2. Question 2 says, write the meaning this text gives for mountain range. And the mountain range part of this question is in quotation marks, which means somewhere in the text it says mountain range. So that's what we're going to look for. We're going to look for mountain range. So I'm going to skim the text. That doesn't mean I'm going to read it all again. I'm looking for the words mountain range. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So it says mountain, but it doesn't say range there. I'm going to mountain, no range there. I'm going to keep going. Oh, mountain, no range there. Mountain, no range. Mountain, doesn't say range after that. Oh, range, mountain ranges. Okay, so I think it's going to be in this section. Let's have a read of it. Mountains cover more than a quarter of the earth. Many are part of a group called a range. Some mountain ranges stretch for hundreds of miles. So the question was, write the meaning this text gives for mountain range. So what is a mountain range according to this text? So have a look at these sentences here. I'd like you to write down what this text is telling you a mountain range is called. Sorry, what a mountain range is. Okay, if you have written that this text is saying that a group of mountains is called a range, then you got a mark. And you can also add the extra information of some of them stretch for hundreds of miles. That's also fantastic. So in this text, a mountain range is explained as being a part of a group of mountains. Now I'm going to stop the sharing for a moment, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see it on a different document, because sometimes it's a little bit easier to look at our questions. Okay, so that was question 2. Let's have a look at question 3. Draw a simple diagram of a volcano using information from the text. Label the crater and lava, and it's worth 2 marks. So this means you're going to get a mark for your drawing and a mark for labeling the crater and the lava. So we're looking for a picture of a volcano. So let's have a scroll down of our text to find the information about the volcano. Now it says volcano here. So I'm going to reread this part of the text. Some mountains are formed by volcanoes. Magma from deep in the earth erupts through a crack in the earth's crust. So this part here is labelled as the volcano. Dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air when a volcano erupts. The hole in a volcano is called its crater. When the lava cools, it hardens into hard rock. Layers of rock build up to form a cone-shaped mountain. So this question is asking me to draw a diagram of a volcano and label the crater and the lava. Now in this picture of my volcano that they've given us, there isn't a label for the crater or the label for the lava. So you're going to have to think of where that is, reading the text carefully. So I'd like you to draw your picture of your volcano and then label the crater, which it says the hole in a volcano is called its crater, and the lava. Dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air when a volcano erupts. So you've got to think carefully, where is the lava in this picture and where is the crater, and label those. And you would get a mark if your picture is perfect and a mark if you have labelled your crater and your lava. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. Question 4. It says the plates fit together like jigsaw pieces, and this is in paragraph 4. So we're going to go to the top. I'm just going to count our paragraphs. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, sorry, they're counted this as 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're looking at the section about how a mountain's made. This is our 4th paragraph. The earth has a crust of rock. This is broken into massive pieces called plates, which have gaps between them. These move very, very slowly on top of hot liquid rock called magma. The plates fit together like jigsaw pieces. So the question says, why do you think the writer included this information? Choose one of your answers. So why did they describe it as they fit together like jigsaw pieces? And it does give you some options. So is it because she has a jigsaw showing the earth plate? So at home, she's got a jigsaw puzzle and it shows the earth plates. Is that why she's put that in? Is it because the earth's plates are a jigsaw? Is it because she's trying to help the readers to imagine what the plates are like? Or is it because the earth's crust is broken into plates? Have a think what you think it could be. So it says the plates fit together like jigsaw pieces. So you can only choose one option. So pause the video now and write down your answer. Okay, if you chose the option because she is trying to help readers to imagine what the plates are like, then you got that one correct. So well done, that's really fantastic. It's quite tricky. The Earth's crust is broken into plates. That's not why she's chosen to describe it like a jigsaw piece. She's chosen that description to help the person who's reading it to picture how the pieces all fit together. So well done if you chose a 3rd option. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Got 2 more to go. Complete this list of events using information from the text. How a mountain is formed from a volcano. So let's go back to our volcano section. So A, magma erupts through a crack in the Earth's crust. Layers of rock form a cone-shaped mountain. So there's a section that's missing in between these 2 points. They haven't shown it to you very clearly here, but there's a bit of information that's missing between this section and this section. So it says magma erupts through a crack in the Earth's crust. Then there's a piece of information missing, and then layers of rock form a cone-shaped mountain. Let's have another read of our volcano section. Some mountains are formed by volcanoes. Magma from deep in the earth erupts through a crack in the Earth's crust. And that's what our first piece of information is they've given us. Magma erupts through a crack in the Earth's crust. Then something else happens, and then layers of rock form a cone-shaped mountain. So it says here right at the end, layers of rock build up to form a cone-shaped mountain. There's information missing between those two pieces of information. Can you find out what it is? What information is missing between those two to create the cone-shaped mountain? Have another read of that information and write it down. Okay. If you wrote down that dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air, then that is something that happens. And this lava has to cool and harden into hard rock. So that's the important part. So the important part is that the lava that bursts into the air when a volcano erupts, when that cools and hardens into hard rock, that's the information that's missing. So well done if you put that as your option. Well done. Okay, and our last question. It says dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air. And we're already in that section here, so it's just underneath the picture. Dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air, paragraph 7. In this sentence, burst is closest in meaning to which option? Choose one. So burst. Have a think about what burst means. Think about what could burst. So like, for example, a balloon could burst. What does it mean by burst? Does it mean that it trickles slowly? Does it mean they are red like balloons? Does it mean that it comes out gradually and gently? Or does it mean they come out suddenly and powerfully? Choose which one you think it means when it says it bursts. Dust and smoke and hot rocks called lava burst into the air. Which one do you think it could be? Okay. If you chose the last option, they come out suddenly and powerfully, then fantastic. That's exactly how it's going to come out. It forces it out, and that's how it comes out there, and it bursts into the air when a volcano erupts. So well done for getting that one right. Okay, they are all our questions for today. What's going to happen is I'd like you to put it onto Tapestry so that your teacher can see your work. If you've got any of those questions wrong, don't worry. Make sure you've understood where you've gone wrong. Maybe have another read of the text if you need to, that's absolutely fine. Now, tomorrow's text, which looks like this, is about coasts. And this was also sent out to you with your task sheet on Monday. So if you are able to, try and read it before our session tomorrow, because tomorrow's one's going to be a bit more independent than today's ones. And you've got 9 questions in tomorrow's text, so it's a bit longer. And it's about coasts tomorrow. So have a think about what it could be about. What is a coast? And maybe if you're able to, try and read this before tomorrow's lesson. Okay, good luck, and I'll see you all tomorrow.